طيب.
Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. And my name is Hussein. I'm real happy to be with you. And we have a real special friend today who's with us. And we're going to be talking in Arabic, but I'll be translating. So he'll speak and then I'll translate.
Oh,
We're going to be bilingual today here. So welcome, Dr. Mohammed Rahouma.
اهلا اهلا صديقي العزيز. شوف، هي اللغه العربيه بتاعتك لايك ماي انجلش، فما حدش النهارده، يعني احنا بنكمل بعض النهارده. هللويا.
جميل. احنا كثير مبسوطين انك تكون معنا اليوم، واحنا كثير اشياء حابين نسالك، بس حابين اول شيء نعرف عن خلفيتك، نعرف عن قبل ما جيت للرب. حابين نعرف عنك شو كان حياتك في مصر قبل ما جيت للرب، وخليني بس اترجم هذا الانجليزي. I just want to I asked Dr. Mohammed Rahouma about his previous life before he came to the Lord, before he knew the Lord Jesus Christ. He was very active. He was Muslim and is very active in Egypt in the educational Islamic system. And so we just want to find out a little bit about his background before we talk about what he's doing now. اتفضل الدكتور، وخليها بس هيك مقطع مشان اترجمها.
جمل قصيره. اكيد ناس كتير شافت قصتي، بس انا اقول أنا كنت عميد كلية الدراسات العربية والإسلامية، وكان عندي مناصب.
Okay, best let me just say, he used to be the dean of the College of Arabic and Islamic Studies في أي جامعة؟
جامعة الأزهر فرع المنيا.
For the Al Azhar University. He's an Azhari, you guys. He's one of them. I'm just kidding. In Al-Minya, which is one of the large centers, like states in Egypt, Al-Minya.
Yes. وكان عندي كل ما أريد، يعني كنت مكانة وجاب وجود جاب وكل حاجة وفلوس، كل حاجة، كل شيء. أنا كان عندي كل شيء، كل ما يريده إنسان. يعني كنت أزهر عميد كلية. كنت كان سني 42.
I had everything that anybody could possibly want in my country. I was Azhari meaning that he was among the Muslims. This is a very high position to be a graduate, to be working with Al Azhar University. The Al Azhar, for those of you who don't know, is almost the equivalent of like the Vatican for the Catholics. Al Azhar is the #1 educational institution for Sunni Islam. It's extremely important. And so he had everything that anybody could want. He had a great job, making lots of money, lots of respect, lots of, very respected position in Egypt.
كان بيتخرج على إيدي كل سنة 1000 إمام جامع وشيخ.
Wow. Based on what he was doing, there were 1,000 new imams every year. Every year he would produce 1,000 new Muslim Sunni imams to spread the Islam throughout the world.
هذا معناه إن أنا مسؤول، ولا أهرب من مسؤوليتي. مسؤول عن الإرهاب، ليا مسؤولية عن الإرهاب اللي بيعملوه إخواتنا في كل العالم الآن.
In this sense, you could say I was also responsible for the terrorism. The terrorism that some of these my students went on to promote and commit, I'm partially responsible for it.
لكن ربنا يعلم كنت مسلم بإخلاص.
But our Lord knows that I was a very sincere Muslim.
وكنت بحب محمد
and I used to love Mohammed,
وكنت باحب القرآن
and I loved the Quran.
مع إني باعطي ماجستير ودكتوراه فيه بس مش فاهمه.
I had a master's degree in Quran. I had a doctorate degree, PhD in Quran, and I still didn't understand it.
مش أنا، تلاميذي.
And my students,
تلاميذي أنا كنت أمنح الماجستير والدكتوراه.
oh,
آه.
I used to be the one who actually granted them master's degrees. I used to grant them doctorate degrees, even though I myself didn't understand it.
أنا
Wow.
فاكر رسالة دكتوراه عن بلاغة القرآن، دي آخر رسالة ناقشتها سنة 2001 قبل ما آجي
Okay.
أمريكا.
I remember the very last master's degree,
No, doctorate.
doctorate degree that I oversaw, and it was about the rhetoric of the Quran. This was in the year 2001.
وأنا I am still أنا لسه فاكر my student, his name is عاطف from صمالوت المنيا.
Okay, and the student who wrote this doctorate, who presented it, his name was شو كان اسمه؟
عاطف
عاطف
كمال.
عاطف Kamal from Samalot, Minya.
المنيا yes.
Okay.
ودي آخر دكتوراه ناقشتها قبل ما آجي أمريكا سنة 2001.
This was the last doctorate PhD that I presented before I came to the United States in 2001.
بس بس أنا فاكر في مناقشة الدكتوراه بيبقوا 3 أساتذة، المشرف اللي هو أنا، ورئيس اللجنة لازم يكون full بروفيسور، وعضو تاني بيناقش. أنا أذكر إحنا ال5 والطالب ما كناش فاهمين حاجة. أنا يعلم ربنا ما كنا نفهم شيء.
And I remember that in the doctorate, it's kind of like a review, like kind of like there were 5 people involved in the granting of this PhD, and Dr. Muhammad was the chief. He was the chief of the 5 who were there. The other was a student, and then the other 3 were professors, and we were there discussing the subject of his PhD thesis. But the problem is, none of us knew what the heck we were talking about.
This is not كوميديا مش دي الحقيقة. ما حدش لا يوجد بلاغة في القرآن.
That there is this isn't intended to be comical, but there is no logic or rhetoric in the Quran, and that's what this thesis was about.
ليست بلاغة لكنها بلاهة. بلاهة.
No rhetoric, but there is chaos.
بلاهة يعني عبط.
There's folly in it.
Yes, yeah. المهم كنت عندي كل ده، لكن أبحث عن شيء يعرفوه المسيحيين ويعرفوه المؤمنين، عن علاقة خاصة بيني وبين الله اللي أنا لازم أحبه مش أخاف منه.
The thing that I wanted and what I was looking for, even at that time, is I was looking for something that the Christians had, which is a relationship with God. I wanted to have a personal relationship with God.
ما حدش يفهم الكلام ده من المسلمين. Nobody can understand this from my Muslims people. مش فاهمين الكلام ده، ما يفهموهوش. صعب.
None of the Muslims understand this. None of the Muslims understand this idea of having a personal relationship with God.
ده بالعكس، ده يعتبروني كافر.
They started considering me a kafir, which is, an unbeliever, but also it's a very serious word, especially when you're a dean of an Al-Azhar college, and so they start considering him a kafir or an unbeliever, a heretic.
لأنما لاحظت إن كل زملائي وكل اللي في الحقل الإسلامي بيعمل حاجتين.
I noticed that all of my colleagues in this field, educational field, that they do two things.
يسد أذانه
They
حتى لا
close
يسمع،
they close their ears
ويغمض عينه حتى لا يرى،
and they close their eyes so they can't see.
وبالتالي ما في مخ، في بسطرمة.
And because of this, there's no brain. There's only pastrami.
أنا كنت كده، أضحك عليهم، أنا كنت كده، بس بالنعمة خلصنا.
I'm not laughing at them. I was the same situation.
بل يمكن يكون كنت أسوأ كمان منهم.
And I was worse than them.
طبعًا القصة طويلة، لكن أنا لا أريد أن أستغرق في المعاناة.
I don't want to get stuck in the suffering.
وأنا أبحث عن الإله الحقيقي.
And I was looking for the true God.
ما كنتش واثق في إله الإسلام خالص.
I didn't trust the Islamic God at all.
وكنت تعبان من فكرة إن أنا ممكن أنام وما أقومش من النوم وأروح جهنم.
And I was very worn out by the thought that I might go to sleep and not wake up and end up in hell.
وبعدين نفس الصحابة سألوا محمد عن معنى هذه الآية من القرآن.
And
They asked Muhammad about
the companions, if you look in, there were some of Muhammad's companions who asked Muhammad about a particular verse in the Quran.
إيش الآية بتقول؟ الآية صعبة شوية. ما منكم إلا واردها قالوا سألوه حتى أنت يا رسول الله قال حتى أنا إلا أن تدركني رحمة الله. واردها means go to hell for some time.
There's a famous verse in the Quran that says, there is none of you but who will go to hell. You will go to hell for a short amount of time, maybe, but there is none of you but who will go to hell. This is a verse in the Quran. I'm going to pull it up right now and I'll show it to you. Everybody's going to go to hell. Okay. The Quran says this. And then the companions asked Muhammad, and they said, even you, Prophet of Allah, peace be upon you? And he said, even me.
بلاش الكومبينيون، خليها الصحابة or الصحابة or his disciples. الصحابة أو disciples، مش أصحابه، لا دول الخاصة، دول special people.
Okay.
تمام. تلاميذه اللي معاه في مسؤولية الدعوة. المهم، وطبعا غير كمان عذاب القبر.
And this is in addition to the teachings about the torments of the grave.
ده صورة مفزعة مؤلمة، كل ما افتكرها جسمي خشول.
This is such a terrifying picture. Every time I even think about it, my body still trembles a little.
كل المسلمين مثقفين أو جهلة أو علماء كلهم خايفين من حاجة اسمها عذاب القبر.
All the Muslims, whether they're educated or uneducated, how committed or how uncommitted they are, they're all afraid of the torments of the grave.
دي العصا بتاع محمد اللي أرهب بها المسلمين.
This is the stick, the rod with which Muhammad terrified the Muslims.
To deceive them، لخداعهم وإقناعهم إنهم follow him، يمشوا وراه.
This is also to terrify them and to deceive them and force them to follow him, to convince them to follow him. And by the way, there's several of you who have been giving super chats. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you Mr. صليبي ثابت. عندك أصحاب حلوين زي العسل أهو. المهم كانت النتيجة الله. طب وبعدين يا ربي، أنا ما كنتش سعيد يا أخويا ستيف. ما كنتش بابتسم، ما كنتش باضحك،
Okay.
يعني
So what happened is that I was so unhappy. I couldn't smile. I couldn't laugh. I was so under the oppression of these beliefs. First of all, everybody's going to go to hell, and then we also got to deal with the torments of the grave.
أنا عندي مفاجأة حلوة، أنا هاوريكم صورتي وأنا مسلم، عشان تعرف شوف كنت إيه من 30 سنة،
بس ما
يعني
تكونش
المفروض شباب وحلو ووسيم
بس ما تكونش أحلى مني يعني.
لا مش أحلى منك.
Okay. He's going to show us a picture. He's got a surprise for. He's going to show us a picture of when he was very handsome and young, and when he was the dean of the college. And by the way, you guys, if you would like a little description of the torments of the grave, please write that. I'm not sure if we need to talk about that, but if you would like us to, just ask a little bit about the torments of the grave, and we could. دكتور محمد ممكن بس تحكي لنا جملتين
ماشي.
عذاب القبر.
عذاب القبر هو يا أخي ما تفكرنيش يا عم، خلاص ربنا شفاني. يقول لك
I asked him about the torments of the grave. He says, "Oh, don't remind me. The Lord healed me of it."
يا
But
أخي
أنا ممكن أحكي حاجة شوية عنه بس.
لكن لا هقول هو يحطوك في القبر ويمشوا، فحوائط القبر تفضل تضيق عليك لغاية ما تفتت عظامك، تطبق عليك وتفتت عظامك. دي واحد.
Okay, the first thing that happens with the torments of the grave. Now I know a lot of you already know about this, but let me just say a little bit because it is. You know the reason that I care about this is because I remember when my dad was Muslim. I remember when he was old and he would go to the mosque and then the sheikh would start screaming about the torments of the grave. And my poor dad, he was 86 years old. He was so scared. He'd come home shaking because of what the sheikh was saying in the mosque about the torments of the grave. What they say, they put you inside the coffin and then they start the box starts squeezing until it crushes your bones. That's the first step, is that the coffin squeezes you until it crushes your bones.
دي صورتي من 25 سنة.
This is my picture 25 years ago. أي واحد أنت؟
الأول واحد ده
على
اللي حاطط إيدي كده وكرافتة خضراء أعتقد.
the one with the green. خليها شوي لهيك عشان احنا لا هيك. أيوة. Okay, this is the one with the long green tie.
أيوة. Yes. وده محافظ المنيا وده المحامي العام للمنيا.
And this is the
governor. Yeah.
Wow.
واخد بالك؟ شفت ده شكلي اهو، شكلي اهو.
Okay.
اهو.
Oh, there he is again.
انا جنب رولا خالصة، دي رولا خالصة الصحفية المعروفة.
Okay, this is a very famous. He's next to the lady with red hair. Her name is Rula. She's a very famous journalist in Egypt.
Yes. يعني أنا بدور مش ممكن أهو. شوف وانا بقى من 20 سنه، لا دي 30 40 سنه.
This is like 40 years ago. أي واحد أنت؟
أنا اللي لابس البدلة ده الأمور ده.
I'm the cute one. I'm the cute one and the tall one and then the cutest one. So
ودي بص دي بقى دي باينه فيها قوي. بص حد يقول ده أنا ده أنا ده.
أي واحد أنت؟
ده اللي بكلم الوزير ده الوزير مفيد شهاب وزير التعليم. وده انا بكلمه اهو اللي مايل شويه كده بوريه.
To the minister of education in Egypt. Is a very high position he was. Wow.
يعني بصوا اللي يشوف الصوره الان ما يصدقش ايه ده. انا ده المسيح خلانا حلوين فعلا.
You know, you look at me now and you say it can't be the same person, and it's because of Jesus. Jesus has made me beautiful. He's made me able to laugh. He's made me able to smile. So.
كمان انا عايز اقول لكم كمان على حاجه مهمه، وهي دي نمره واحد السكويز الجسم. نمره اثنين الثعبان الاقرع. والثعبان الاقرع ده ثعبان ضخم جدا وبيمص الدم ويفضل يعذب في الجثة لغاية ما هو ميت، هيعمل فيه إيه تاني؟ هيموته تاني؟
All right. So what the next thing after the coffin squeezes you to crush your bones, then there's this huge serpent that comes. It's called the bald serpent. And so this serpent was huge, and it comes and it sucks your blood.
Yes. تالت حاجة بقى ناكر ونكير.
And then you guys, the joy of the one of the greatest torments of the grave is nakir and nakir.
نكير ماسكين مطارق من حديد وينزلوا فيه.
They got steel hammers, and they come to beat you with these huge steel hammers.
لغاية ما يخلصوا عليه. طب ما هو ميت، هيخلصوا عليه.
They come to torment him. He's already dead. Are you trying to kill him again?
After his فلاش جسمه يذوب ويبقى تراب، يروح ربنا إله الإسلام السادي اللي بيحب العذاب يخلقه تاني من جديد عشان يبدأوا الكر مرة أخرى.
Okay, after he has been tormented and his body's destroyed and from all of these torments, and Allah in his mercy will recreate the person so they can start the torments all over again.
حلوة قوي حلوة قوي.
And I just want to say, you guys, I know this sounds insane, it sounds crazy, but I know people are scared of this.
كل الناس مصدقة، كل المسلمين مصدقين عذاب القبر.
All the Muslims believe in this and they are terrified.
ومحمد في الأحاديث قال عنه، قال عن عذاب القبر.
I know little kids who used to not be able to sleep at night because the sheikh would come over to their house and start talking about these things with a loud voice and the drama and the serpent and all these things, and the kids couldn't sleep at night from the nightmares because they really believe this stuff is going to happen. And so
فكرت ان انا برضو خلاص انا بدأت I'm starting to lose my God in Islam. الله خلاص مش مصدقه، مش مصدق ان في اله بهذه الطريقه مكرهني في حياتي. No personal relationship with him. ما فيش any respond لما بصلي، ما فيش حاجه بتدخل لي. ايه اصلي وبعدين ايه اللي حسيته؟
What started happening is I started losing my faith in this God. First of all, there's no personal relationship. And then he wants to do all this stuff to us. He wants to torment me like this. And there was no relationship, nothing. I wasn't getting nothing from him. I was losing my faith in this God.
Yeah. وبعدين أظن سنة 91 1991 سنة 1991 كان ظهور العذراء في أسيوط عملت دوشة، خلت المسلمين كل الله ايه ده في شيء العذراء بتظهر.
In 1991 there was like an apparition of Mary that happened in Egypt, and this really shocked a lot of the
Muslims. وانا قعدت اسال اقول طب ليه عائشه ما تظهرش؟ ليه خديجه ما تظهرش؟ ليه محمد ما يظهرش؟
And what I was thinking is, why didn't Aisha appear? Or why didn't Khadija appear? Or why didn't Muhammad appear? Why is it always one of the Christian the people the Christians believe in,
عموما انا خرجت الى، طبعا جاتني سفريه ان انا اروح ادرس في السعوديه، فقلت دي فرصه الحق الهي قبل ما افقده.
Then there came an opportunity for me to go teach Islam in Saudi Arabia, and I thought, well, maybe this is an opportunity for me to go try to regain my faith in this God before I totally lose him.
اتصدمت لان انا المفروض بدرس للدراسات العليا.
And I was shocked because this was supposed to be some very high level education.
اللي هو في الماجستير والدكتوراه بس، يعني 5-6 طالبات.
Just there was only like 5 or 6 students because this was all master's and doctorate level classes.
وهذا النوع من الدراسة الهاي ستاديز محتاجة فيس تو فيس، تتكلم معه وتتناقش.
And these types of studies are so high level that they require face-to-face discussions, not just like in a big class session.
حطوني في بتاع زي السجن كده، اكلم نفسي، ها، زي ستيشن كده صغيره، اكلم نفسي وهم يشوفوني وانا ما اشوفهمش.
Okay.
اقول لهم طب ليه؟ قال لك لان ده اغراء. طب ما انا مش بغريهم برضو. الله الله.
They said they put him in this little room. It's like he said it was like almost like a prison cell to talk to these students, and they would see him, but he can't see them. And he asked them, why are you doing this? And they said, so that there not be any kind of lust or temptation between you and them. And he says, wait a minute. So, I might lust for them or desire them, but they won't desire me. It's like, he says, it doesn't make sense.
ما فيش المخ بقى الواحد يفقد مخه. المهم طبعا ما
When somebody loses their brain, it just makes no sense.
كتر خيرهم، يعني حاجه مش ممكن. كانت نوع من العذاب ليا طبعا، تعليم كليه الاداب لتعليم البنات في الرياض كانت.
في واحد مسلم اسلام ديفندر يحيى، هو بيضحك عليك، بيقول هو بحكيش انجليزي. هذا واحد
I can speak English مستر يحيى. I like you ولا يهمك.
انت بتعرفه؟
لا انا بس عشان
هذا مشهور بيطلع دائما بيحكي.
لا انا بس عشان انا اقدم، عشان احنا الاثنين نقدم الشهاده بالعربي وبالانجليزي، عشان العرب يفهمونا والانجليزي يفهموا السيد ستيف الانجليزي الامريكي.
He says that's why we're doing this in two languages, so that the Arabs can understand, and so that the Americans and the British, where you're living, can understand. Since you probably don't speak Arabic either.
كمان انا في كل اسبوعين ثلاثه يعلم ربنا كل فلوسي صرفتها رايح على الكعبه، جاي من الكعبه، رايح على المدينه المنوره، ارجع من عند محمد. ما فيش حاجه غير كده. ما انا جاي، انا مش محتاج فلوس، انا مرتبي كبير ومكانتي كبيره في مصر.
I had lots of money. I had lots of money. So all I would do is I would go to Mecca to go to the Hajj, and then I come back, and then I go back and do the Hajj again, and then go to Mecca and do the Umrah. Small.
لا لكن انا كنت فاهم ان انا بحاول استرد ايماني، استرد اسلامي.
I was trying to restore my Islam, restore my faith in my Islam.
Yes. لكن يبدو ان انا دفنته في رمال صحراء السعودية قبل ان اعود واعلن اني خلاص تركت الاسلام totally. خلاص.
It appears that what happened is that I completely buried my Islam in the sands of the deserts of Saudi Arabia. And this is before I went back to Egypt to declare that I had left Islam.
رجعت بعد 3 سنوات وكان العقد 6 سنوات لكن ما كملته.
Okay, I was supposed to be in Saudi Arabia for 6 years, but I just after 3 years I left the contract. I took off and I went back to Egypt.
في ايجيبت بدأت المعركة الكبرى.
In Egypt, the great battle began.
Because أنا ما أقدرش أعيش بدون إله.
Because I could not live without a God.
كل إنسان شرقي بالذات جسمه ما ينسجمش إلا مع فكرة الإله.
Every Middle Eastern person cannot exist without some concept of God in his life.
In his body كمان. In his
body also.
بإيه زي التايه. طب أعمل إيه؟
I was lost. What can I do?
يعني صديقي المسيحي كان ضابط كبير، وكنت أركب سيارته أجد شرايط للبابا شنودة بصوته الرخيم الجميل.
My friend was a Christian who was a very high level, like a lieutenant in the army. And I would ride in his car. He was a Christian. And sometimes he would play tapes of Father Shinoda, Ababa Shinoda, who is the
بابا
Pope, the
yeah,
Coptic Pope, and he
yeah,
would be speaking about Jesus Christ and about the
yeah,
Lord.
yeah. أو أسمع عنده ترانيم
Or I would
Christian
hear
songs
some of the worship music,
yeah زي حسين اللي بيعملها حسين.
like Hussein does. You guys, you gotta buy my tapes. Make me rich, people. Go on Amazon, buy my CDs, make me rich.
بس ما سمعتكش أنا في مصر ما سمعتكش.
Even though he hasn't heard me in a long time. So anyway.
وبعدين لقيت نفسي الله دي حاجة حلوة طعمها حلو في حاجة مختلفة في نور في
Then
جمال أنا محتاج له.
when I started hearing what the Christians and their sermons and their music and their worship, I said, "Oh, there's something sweet here. There's something beautiful here. This is what my spirit has been longing for."
لكن المشكلة إن ده كان عامل زي الضوء اللي في نهاية النفق.
But it was like a tiny light at the end of a long dark tunnel.
يس لكن ما أقدرش دقت الحلاوة فبدأت أسأل.
I tasted the sweetness, and so I started asking questions.
كنت وأنا في شغلي أشرب قهوة كتير جدًا لدرجة أحيانًا ممكن يغمى عليَّ من كتر القهوة وما باكلش.
Okay. When I had been at my job, I'd be so busy. I would drink so much coffee. I was so addicted to coffee. I drank so much coffee to the point that I didn't eat.
فمدير مكتبي قال لي: "تعالَ أوديك عند أبونا يصلي لك." my
And then
my
there was somebody, boss, مديرك,
no, no, no,
his-
my secretary, my yeah,
oh,
my assistant.
secretary.
Yeah.
Okay, his secretary or his assistant said to him once, says, "Come here, I want to take you to the Christian priest so that he could pray for you."
I refused طبعًا في البداية، لكن رُحت مضطر أنا محتاج أشوف حاجة حلوة، رُحت معاه، رُحنا في سيارته.
At first, I rejected, but then I needed something, so I went with him. I went in the car,
وأنا فاكر إن أنا هاشوف حد كبير كده، شخصية كبيرة في المسيحية،
then I saw somebody who was big, who was important in the Christian community,
لكن طلع فراش الكنيسة.
but he was just the painter, church.
house keeper الكنيسة.
Yeah, the cleaner, the janitor of the
yeah.
church.
أنا مسكت الموظف بالعاد وبهدلته، أنت بتجيبني عندي واحدة أنا قال لي: "لأ ده بركة، listen استنى wait he's a blessing man."
I got angry at my assistant who took me there. I said, "Why are you bringing me here?" But then he says, "Just wait, be patient."
وفعلًا هو حط إيده هنا
Uh-huh.
وstarted to pray for me. لقيت دموعي بتنزل وجسمي كده يهتز.
The priest, the father, put his hand on his
مش فازر ولا بريست، فراش.
الفراش.
just worker.
The
just worker, nor man, a person, a Christian person.
Okay, so it wasn't the priest. It was just
No.
the janitor, the guy that works at the church there.
Yes,
Just this simple guy, just put his hand on his head and began to pray for him, for
And
Dr. Muhammad, and the tears began to fall from him.
and shaking.
He was shaking in his
Yes.
body.
الصلاة جميلة.
It was such a beautiful prayer.
أول مرة أتلمس وأحس بحاجة حلوة.
The first time I ever felt something beautiful like that.
رجعت فرحان.
I went home so happy.
But still أنا عايز more and more.
But I wanted more.
وبرضه الكتاب المقدس عندي في البيت على مكتبي.
And I had the Bible in my house on my desk.
أنا كأكاديمي لازم يكون عندي الكتاب المقدس.
You know, because I was an academic, I had the Bible, not because I believed, but because I was an academic.
ودرست عبري.
And I also studied Hebrew. I studied, the original language of the Bible.
لكن مش عارف أفتح الكتاب.
but
I cannot open the book and
I I didn't know how to open the Bible. I didn't know what to do, where to go.
حاجة مسكاني
But something
خايف. I
grabbed
am
it.
I,
I was afraid.
I am scared for my Islamic to be gone.
I feared that I would lose my Islam if I read this book.
كنت في حرب.
I was in a war.
يا big conflict في ده.
I was,
هنا عنده في النور شوية بحثا عن يسوع، وفي الضلمة شوية خايف أفقد الإسلام تماما.
I had a little bit of light when I'd be looking for Jesus and drawing close to him, and then the darkness of when my fear of losing my Islam.
يا وانتهى هذا الصراع بصوت جوايا.
And this
صوت inside me.
this
كلمني.
battle ended when I heard a voice inside of me.
Come to America, you will see me. تعال أمريكا سوف تراني.
And I heard the voice say, "Come to America and you will see me."
أنا كنت جيت أمريكا سنة 92 تقريبا قبل ما أروح السعودية.
I came to America in 1992 before I went to Saudi Arabia.
كان اسمها بروفيسور فيزيتنج.
It was like an academic visitation by a professor.
لكن ما حبيتش أمريكا. I don't like it.
بس
I'm
أنا ما
sorry.
حبيتش أمريكا. I mean, I didn't like America.
لكن
أحكي عربي، أنا بحكي إنجليزي.
لكن
خليك عربي.
لكن مش عارف أنا. المهم أجي أمريكا ريم أنا ما حبيتهاش.
I came to America, but I didn't like it.
جيت بعد ما ضغطت على رئيس الجامعة the head of my university. I have to come. I have to take the permission to come.
Okay. خليك بالعربي.
سألت رئيس الجامعة اديني أجازة، قال لي الأجازة خلصت. أنت في نص أغسطس، في نص أغسطس. الأجازة بتبدأ من أول يوليو. أنت شهر ونص كنت فين؟ جاي تاخد أجازة الآن.
So at about the middle of August, he went and asked the chief of at the university, his boss, say, "Hey, I need to take my break because I want to go to America." He says, "Well, your break begins in June. It's almost the end of August now."
المهم بعد نقاش لأنه كان صديقي اداني الأجازة.
After a little bit of discussion, he allowed me to go.
وخدت الفيزا. طبعا الناس تقول لك هو اصلي تنصر عشان يدخل امريكا. يا عبيط يا ابني يا عبيط.
People started saying, which they always do, he became a Christian so that he can go to America. He just wants to go to America.
انا ما بروحش اجيب الفيزا. انا ببعت موظف من عندي يروح السفاره يقول لهم الدكتور رحومه عايز فيزا، خد اتفضل.
I had one of my employees go to the consulate and say, "Get the visa for me." And he would just say, "Dr. Rahouma wants a visa," and they just stamped on it and give it to me immediately.
عشان مخهم اللي ما فيهوش حاجه غير امريكا. اصل عايز اروح امريكا ليه؟ انا ما احب.
Their brain is like that. They think, "Oh, everybody just, they're liars. They say claim to be Christian just because they want to go to America." That's all that they have in their brain. I went to America. I didn't like it.
ترك الإسلام عشان يروح أمريكا. المهم
he left Islam so that he can go to America.
جيت في 19 أغسطس.
I came on August 19. 2001.
وفضلت فين ربنا مفيش.
I said, "Where's the Lord? Where's the Lord? I don't see anything."
أنا مش شايف حاجة. بعد كده قلت الله الأجازة خلصت خلاص. أنا واخد أسبوعين أجازة. only 2 weeks only.
I only had a 2-week vacation. It was almost over. I didn't see nothing. I didn't find God or anything.
رحت بقى قلت خلاص ده مفيش فايدة. أروح أعمل التذكرة. رحت أعمل التذكرة الرجوع لأن كانت التيكت open.
Okay.
Going back to Egypt كان open.
Okay.
فرُحت أأكد الحجز الرجوع لإيجيبت.
Okay. رُحت عملت I mean, I went to make the to reserve my seat to come back to Egypt because I was already my vacation was over already and my ticket
لأ،
was open. I could have stayed as long as I wanted to, but I made my reservation to come back to Egypt.
كان اليوم ده الإتنين، يوم الإتنين 10 سبتمبر 2001. خدوا
This
بالكم بس عشان
uh,
تعرفوا التواريخ.
this day that the day that I did this was September 10th, 2001.
عملت التذكرة ورجعت زعلان بقى من ربنا بقى، ده أيًا كان أنا ما أعرفش هو مين.
I had the ticket ready and I was angry at the Lord because I felt disappointed.
كان مفروض تذكرتي يوم الخميس الساعة 7 مساءً، دي تذكرتي يوم الخميس 13 سبتمبر أرجع.
On the Thursday, which was September 13th at 7 o'clock at night to Egypt. That was my flight, is to come back to Egypt on the 13th of September.
بس
2000.
عاتبته وإذا كنت زعلان، ما أعرفش مين هو، بس كلمته.
I was
مين؟
angry at God, but I spoke to him.
ليه بتعمل؟ طب عايز مني إيه؟ What do you need؟ ماذا تريد مني؟ ماذا تريد؟
I asked him, "What do you want from me? Why are you doing this to me?"
ونمت بدري،
And I went to bed early that night.
والصبح أختي بتصحيني، كنت عند أختي في ذلك الوقت.
I was staying at my sister's house, and my sister woke me up early the next morning.
الحق الدنيا خربت في أمريكا.
She says, "Hurry,
هاي
get up. The world
يا
is falling apart in America."
أنا افتكرت أنت عارف في أمريكا شوية أمطار تقيلة يقول لك emergency، شوية عواصف يقول لك emergency، فأنا قُلت شوية emergency من بتوعتهم، ونمت برضه.
And I thought, oh, another American emergency. Whenever there's a little bit of rain, they say it's an emergency. When there's a little bit of snow, they say it's an emergency. Whenever there's a storm, they say it's an emergency. I said, another one of America's emergencies. So I just put my head back and fell asleep again.
لكن المشكلة إن أختي قالت لي: قوم، ده الحرب هتقوم.
But my sister said to me, get up. A war is going to start.
قُمت.
I
إيه
got
اللي
up.
حصل؟
I said, what happened?
لقيت التلفزيون بيذيع سبتمبر 11 بيذيع المباني بتقع بشكل زي ما تكون بسكوتة وبتنتهي كده، منظر لا يمكن أنساه.
What I saw on television, of course, on September 11th was the Twin Towers. I watched as the buildings collapsed as if they were like, made of like a gingerbread house, just collapsing. It's sights that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
أنا إيه ده فعلًا. وبعدين المؤلم عندي إني فتحت القنوات العربية وجدتهم بيوزعوا شوكولاتة وشربات في الشوارع.
And
يا
then what really broke my heart is I saw some of the Arabic stations talking about this, and there were people out in the streets handing out candy and congratulating one another because of the attack that had happened in America.
هلا إيه ده، إحنا وحشين لهذه الدرجة؟
And I thought, are we really this barbaric? Are we Arabs really this barbaric?
وتألمت قُلت ما هم. وبعدين بدأوا بعد أيام، بعد تاني يوم تقريبًا بدأوا يذيعوا ناس من اللي عملوا الحادثة.
And then the next
فتبينت
day, they began rescuing people from what had happened.
وبدأوا يدوّروا على كل واحد اسمه محمد، وأنا اسمي محمد.
And they started looking for every person named Mohammed, and my name is Mohammed.
و وبالعكس ده أنا مش محمد وبس،
I'm
ده
not
أنا
just
اللي
Mohammed.
ده أنا اللي عملت المحمدون كلهم اللي الشيوخ.
I'm not just Mohammed. I'm the one who made all the other Mohammeds.
وهم وهم لو عرفوا إني أنا كنت باخرّج من تحت إيدي الشيوخ والأئمة كانوا مسكوني.
If
أنا
they knew that I was the one who was teaching all these guys, I'm the one who graduated all of these imams and all these sheikhs, they would have captured me and imprisoned me.
أنا كل ما أخدم في كنيسة أمريكية أقول لهم كده يتجنوا من الضحك.
Whenever I minister in an American church, I tell them this, and they just burst out laughing.
ويقولوا لي finally مسكنا الإرهابي الكبير.
They say, finally, we caught the biggest terrorist of all.
لكن فعلًا ربنا يسمع اوعى تحتقر، ده الدرس اللي خدته، اوعى تحتقر نفسك، أنت غالي عليه.
Uh,
لو ما فيش غيرك أنت بس على وجه الأرض، هييجي يسوع لأجلك ويعمل الخلاص لأجلك ويحط نفسه على الصليب لأجلك. اوعى تفتكر إنك مش غالي عليه، أنت غالي 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 أوي أوي.
don't ever lessen your value to God. You are so valuable to God. He loves you so much. If you were the only person who ever lived, Jesus Christ would have left heaven and come to earth to die for you on the cross to save you from going to hell. Don't ever devalue yourself.
عرفت قد إيه أنا غالي عليه إنه سمع لي.
I
الله،
knew I knew how precious I was to him.
يا رب أنت تخرب الدنيا عشاني.
I said, Lord, you'll tear the whole world apart for me.
ما هو أنا لو كنت رجعت مصر كان خلاص الموضوع انتهى بالنسبة لي.
If I had gone back to Egypt at that time,
It's
the
done.
situation would have ended. It would have been over for me at that point.
لكن هو وقفني وكل الرحلات الطيران دي اتكنسلت والدنيا وقفت لمدة يمكن أسبوعين أو 3.
And at that time, all of the flights were canceled for more than 2 weeks. All of the flights were canceled to where nobody could go or come.
وطبعا في وسط هذا الجو كان جو روحي، يس spiritual environment وإيه وتراجيدي، ها روحي وتراجيدي. عمل لي حاجة زي ما أكون أنا ماشي بريموت كنترول، حد ماسك الريموت وبيمشيني، ها تعالى روح تعالى روح.
And it was like that in that atmosphere of tragedy, there was a great spiritual experience as well. And I felt like I was being like I was under remote control. Somebody would say, go there, do this, do that.
قلت ربنا عايز سمعني صوته فعلا.
I said, God wants me to hear his voice.
فعلا أنا شفته في هذه الأحداث.
I saw him in this situations.
big different يا حسين إني أنا أسمع عن سبتمبر 11 وأنا في مصر أو أعيش سبتمبر 11 في أمريكا.
It's a huge difference. Had I heard about September 11th in Egypt versus having experienced it here in the United States.
كان جو ما أنا حتى الآن كل ما افتكره مش مصدق إن ربنا يكلمني بالمصائب بالأحداث، يغلق المطارات عشاني، يقول لي أنا موجود، يقول لي أنت غالي عليا، يقول لي أنا مش قلت لك هتشوفني في أمريكا، أنا كدبت عليك.
So it's like even today when I think about it, it makes me cry. That God brought me here, and through these events, God spoke to me and made me aware of how precious I am to him and how much he loves me and how real he is.
مش ناسي الأحداث أبدا. المهم
I never forget these events.
يوم الأربع عدى يوم الثلاث السيء، يوم الثلاثاء الأسود، لكنه كان أبيض بالنسبة لي.
Even though it was called Black Tuesday at the day after, and then Black Wednesday the day after. But for me, it was a white day.
يوم الأربع
On
مسكت
Wednesday,
على الكافي تيبل عند أختي اللي هو البتاع ده اللي هو دليل التليفونات العربي. بوك فون بالعربي، بوك فون بتاع زي الاستعلامات كده.
A phone book. Okay, I went and saw the phone book in my sister's house on the table.
وفتحت ده بالعربي، فتحت
in Arabic.
كنائس عربية ولقيت نفسي بكتب أرقام الكنائس
And I saw Arabic churches, and I wrote down the names of the Arabic churches.
the numbers phone
the
number.
numbers, the phone numbers of the Arabic churches. Yes.
وكانت الساعة 1 الظهر وخرجت أتكلم، ما أقدرش أتكلم من عند أختي،
Yeah.
خرجت ما كانش في there is no mobile like now.
We didn't used to have mobile phones back then. So, I had to go out. I couldn't speak from my sister's house because she's Muslim. So I had to go outside the house in order to speak to some of these churches.
واتصلت لقيت voice mail قلت خلاص بقى ما
If
خلاص
I heard somebody's voicemail, I just ignored them.
خلاص رجعت البيت تاني، لكن فضل معايا رقم تاني، كان رقم قس من ميرلاند، انت تعرفه يا حسين، اللي هو باستر موسى جوزيف موسى.
But then I found a pastor. There was an Arabic pastor in
لكن
Maryland.
يا كلمته في التليفون، طبعا كنت بتكلم من برجر البلازا، كان فيها برجر كينج وبعض المحلات الصغيره
I
سمول
was
بلازا
talking to
كده.
him from a mall that was near Burger King on the phone.
وانا كلمته بقول له انا فلان، انا اسمي محمد، كان المفروض يسمع كلمه محمد يدب التليفون.
I told him I'm so and so. My name is Mohammed. It should have been that when he heard the name Mohammed, he just closed the phone in my face.
يعني قلت له انا دكتور وعميد كليه اسلاميه وبدور على
I'm a doctor and I'm the dean
الإله.
of a college in Egypt.
وانا بدور على اله حقيقي، انا مش جاي امريكا عشان اقعد، انا عندي البيج بوزيشن، عندي انا راجع تاني، بس عايز اعرف مين هو الاله الحقيقي.
But I came to America. I didn't come here just to be in America. I'm looking for the living God, and I want the true God, and I don't want to go back. I want to know who is this true God.
انا خفت اقول له انا السبب في سبتمبر 11 يمسكوه ويمسكوني.
I didn't want to tell him, I'm the cause of September 11th because they would arrest him and arrest me too.
لكن هو ابتدى يتكلم وقال لي اول كلمه طلعت منه اهلا حبيبي، ويلكم حبيبي.
The first thing he said to me was, "Welcome, Habibi, my friend."
حبيبي از ماجيك وورد، كلمه حلوه تفتح القلب كده. احنا في الاسلام محرومين من الحب، لا نمارس الحب ولا نتعاطى بالحب.
Yes.
لما يقول لك اهلا حبيبي.
The word Habibi, comes from the word hub, which means love. And so we don't have love in Islam. There is no love, with God. God is not love. And so just to hear that word, it opens your heart.
لما يقول لي اهلا beloved one، يعني حاجه تسعدني تفرح قلبي.
It was something that makes your heart happy.
فرحت طبعا قلت له انا عايز اعرف الاله الحقيقي مين هو.
I said, I want to know who the true God is.
قال لي يسوع. قلت له يسوع اللي هو عيسى عندنا في القرآن. قال لا ما اسموش عيسى، الاسم الحقيقي يسوع.
And I said, oh yeah, Jesus, he's Isa in the Quran. But he says, no, he's not Isa, he's Jesus.
قلت له ازاي يعني؟ طب انا عملت مش انا يعني هيقبلني ازاي؟ ده انا عامل بلاوي، ده انا عامل مشاكل كتير، انا
I said how could he help me with all of the problems that I've made and all the sins that I've committed,
قال لي ده هو حبيب الخطاة.
And he told me that Jesus is the friend of sinners.
الله يعني مش ماسك الكرباج ولا العصايه ولا نكر ونكر وبيخبط فيا يقول لي ما تغلطش، ما تعملش غلط، يا محمد عم غلط، يا محمد غلط، ما فيش. حبيب الخطاه. الله.
You mean and Dr. Muhammad said to the pastor, he said, you mean he's not holding the whip so that he could whip me, and then the stick so he could beat me on the head with it, or those silver hammers of Naked and Makir that are going to hit me after I'm dying? He's not going to do that to me.
قال لي حبيب الخطاه.
He said he's a friend of sinners.
الله، يعني في حد بيحبني وانا وحش.
And I thought, you mean somebody loves me when I'm so evil?
القسيس قال لي انا كنت أسوأ منك.
And the pastor said, I was worse than you.
وحبيته وجالي وغير حياتي.
And he loved me, came to me, and changed my life.
قلت له طب ازاي انا اقبله ويغير حياتي وابقى مسيحي؟
And I said, how can I accept him and he changed my life and I become a Christian?
قال لي: "صلّي معايا." قُلت له:
He said,
"هاصلّي
"Pray
إزاي؟
with
أنا في
me."
الشارع." أيوه من أنا هاصلّي أعمل أنا فاكر إن أنا هاعمل زي الإسلام. الله أكبر.
But when he said, "Pray with me," I thought that I had to do the prayer, you know, the Muslim prayer, get out the prayer rug and
قال لي:
and just
"لأ،
go
قُل
home.
ورايا، قُل ورايا."
No, he said, "No, just say these words with me."
طبعًا أنا في هذه الحالة بدأت أتردد،
I
جسمي
started hesitating a little.
اقشعر، هيضحك عليك،
I'm
قسيس
thinking
يضحك عليك،
maybe he's
استنى.
mocking you or deceiving you.
وبينما أنا أصارع الشيطان اللي مانعني إن أنا أصلّي معاه، لقيت يسوع بيظهر من خلال الstand بتاع التليفون ده اللي في الشارع، لقيته
Wow.
بيعمل لي كده، ومنوّر.
While I was hesitating, while Satan was trying to keep me from praying, I saw Jesus appearing around the telephone stand,
وكان بيعمل لي كده.
and he
والقسيس
was doing this with his head.
القسيس القسيس يصلّي وأنا شايف اللبس بتاعة يسوع هي اللي بتتحرك، كأنه هو اللي بيتكلم بلسان القسيس.
I could hear the pastor speaking, but I saw the Jesus. I was looking at Jesus, and his lips were moving as if the pastor was speaking Jesus's words.
وطبعًا قُلت له: "أيوه يا رب أنا باقبلك، أيوه يا رب أنا باقبلك، أنا باحبك يا رب، أنا عايزك يا رب." ياه!
And I said, "Lord, I accept you. Lord, I desire you. I accept you, my Lord."
وصارت قشعريرة جوّه جسمي، فعلًا أنهار حية دخلت جسمي وراوتني وغيّرتني تمامًا في لحظة،
And I
فعلًا.
felt the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the living water exploding inside of me. I mean, truly, I felt myself. I had come to life.
بدأت أعيّط،
And I
أعيّط
started crying.
بصوت عالي أقول يا رب أنا ما أستاهلش يا رب تورّيني نَفْسك وتعرّفني نَفْسك وتجيبني ليك، ما أستاهلش أنا يا رب أنا ومش قادر، وبعدين عمّال أحُط وشّي جوّه الbox بتاع التليفون عشان الناس وهي ماشية ما تشوفنيش وأنا باعيّط، كنت باعيّط بصوت عالي، بابكي بصوت عالي، قُلت الناس يقولوا ده مجنون والّا ماله ده.
I was crying with a loud voice there by the telephone, and people are walking by, and I'm thinking the people all think that I'm insane, crying so loud out here.
وروّحت البيت عند أختي وأنا طفل، فعلًا ولدت الآن.
I went to my sister's house, and I was like a brand new baby. I was just born,
بس ماسك يسوع كده في إيديّا
but it's like I held Jesus in my hand.
وماشي بيه، أنا خايف أمسك إيدي يجري منّي، ما ي
I'm afraid that if I let go of him, that he would run away,
يسيبني.
that he would
ونزلت
leave.
ورُحت نمت، كانت الساعة 07:00 مساءً.
It was only like 7 o'clock at night, but I went and slept.
وأختي تقول لي: "أنت هتنام دلوقتي؟" قُلت لها: أنا عايز مكان وحديّة بيه، أنا عايز أنفرد بيه، أنا مع العريس، أنا عايز أكون معاه الليلة كُلّه، مش هاسيبك."
And my sister said, "You're going to go to sleep now?" And I said, "No, I just need a place to be with him. I want to be with the bridegroom. I want to just be alone with him."
أنا باكلّم نَفْسي ما أقدرش أقول لها الكلام ده هتذبحني.
Of course, I couldn't tell her this because she would kill me, but I was saying this to myself.
وفعلًا دخلت كده ورُحت حطيت ملاية على وشّي عشان أعمل نوع من الprivate ليّا عشان
Uh-huh.
أ
So I went
وفضلت
with the
ياه!
sheet in my head so that I kind of just be closed off by myself.
وفضلت معاه، أتكلّم معاه وأقول له: "أنت أخّرت عليّا وأنا سِنّي 47 سَنة دلوقتي، ليه ما جيتنيش من زمان، ليه تسيبني؟"
And I
وأتكلّم.
started saying to him, "Why did you wait so long to come to me? I've been alive for 47 years. Why did you wait until now to
وفضلت
finally come to me?"
وفضلت معاه لغاية الصبح، ما
And I was
نمتش.
talking to him until the morning.
وبعدين شُفت رؤية مش حلم، it is not a dream,
Then I had a vision, but
vision yeah.
it
أنا
was not a good dream.
أنا باغرق في البحر وجه البوليس طلّع الجثة بتاعتي.
That I was drowning in the sea and the police came and pulled out my corpse.
وبعدين قال لي: "أنت أهو و this is your ID." دي بطاقتك أهو، محمد محمود رحومة.
And then he took the ID out and he says, "Is this you? This is your ID, Mohammed Rahouma."
قُلت له: أنا عايش أهو، I'm
But he
still
said, "I'm
alive."
alive. I'm here."
وأنا برضه معايا بطاقتي أهي، محمد محمود رحومة.
And I showed him my ID. I said, "I am Mohammed Rahouma."
قال لي: "أُمّال مين ده؟"
And they said, "Well, then who's this dead person?"
I told him أنا ما أعرفوش.
I said, "I don't know him.
ده old محمد القديم.
This is the old Muhammad.
أنا ما أعرفوش.
I don't know him."
أنا ما قريتش. I never read about bird again والّا بورصة again never. أنا ما قريتش قبل كده عن الولادة الجديدة never ولا سمعت.
Before this, I had never heard about being born again. I never heard anything about it. I never knew anything about being born again. But this was like this dream was explained, this vision.
جريت على القسيس
I
الصبح.
went, I went to the pastor in the morning.
I told him الvision. قُلت له الرؤية.
I told
قال
him
لي
the vision I had.
قال لي: "مبروك،
He said,
يسوع عمّدك."
"Congratulations, Jesus baptized you."
Jesus عمّدك بنفسه، مبروك، وأنت
You
بقى هترجع.
into Jesus Christ. Jesus baptized you into himself. So
إيه
congratulations.
إيه خطتك؟ قُلت له: "هارجع مصر طبعًا." قال لي: "طَب أشوفك اليوم." I told him I will هارجع مصر، لازم هارجع مصر، ما أقدرش أقعد هنا، أقعد أعمل إيه؟ في المساء نفس ميعاد الطيارة جاني ومعاه شوية كتب مسيحية فيهم الكتاب المقدس.
And as I was going to, because I was going to go back to Egypt, he brought me like a box of a bunch of books. Among them was the Bible.
بعدين قال لي ده خدت الكتب طبعًا جعان. الكتاب المقدس بالعهد القديم بالعهد الجديد فريته في 3 أيام، قاعد ما باعملش حاجة، قريته في 3 أيام.
I was so hungry. I read the whole Bible, Old and New Testament, in 3 days.
فعلًا طعمه وحلاوة وكله مشتهيات.
And it was so sweet, and the taste was so full of glory.
ما صدقتش الحلاوة.
I couldn't believe the sweetness.
الله! ده إحنا كنا مظلومين، ده إحنا بنقرا قرآن عن البقرة وعن الكلب وعن البرغوث وعن الحمار وحواديت
We were
وتفاهات.
reading the Quran about the cow and about the donkey and about the bugs
والنمل
and the ants.
لكن ما تقرا حاجات حلوة كده،
But
حاجات
in the Bible, you read these beautiful things.
تحس إنك بتشوف يسوع
You,
وبتلمس يسوع
you
وبتمسك
feel like
يسوع.
you're seeing Jesus, like you're touching Jesus.
بصوا، حلاوة لا يمكن أي مسلم يتصورها.
It's a sweetness that no Muslim can even imagine.
أو يتخيلها. مستحيل. طبعًا القصة عشان طويلة، ياه! إحنا قاعدين لنا ساعة. القصة عشان طويلة، طبعًا رجعت بعد كده. أنا ككاتب I am a writer باحب أكتب.
And I'm a writer, so I wrote.
عندي الجورنال بتاعي أكتب فيه اللي حصل وبتاع، فكتبت قصتي، أنا لسه محتفظ بيها لغاية الآن.
I wrote my story and I still have it.
أنا وسِبتها على الترابيزة اللي قاعد فيها، على ترابيزة السفرة كده، فأختي صُدفةً يعني فتحت وقالت: "إيه أخويا بيه مسيحي، يا لهوتي." أختي my sister. المهم بلّغت الدنيا.
Anyway, he had
my
his
journal.
he had written his testimony, and then he had put it on the sofa, and he just kind of left it there. And then his sister read it, and then she started going crazy. Says, "What? My brother became Christian?" And then she went and started telling people.
وطبعًا وكلمت الناس
And she told people.
المسؤولين اللي في مصر: "الحقوه، هيجيب لنا العار، خدوا
And
بالكم."
he told the people in Egypt,
أول ما يوصل يا تقتلوه
he's going to bring us shame.
يا ترجعوه. المهم مشيت طبعًا على مصر. كان يوم، أظن كان يوم 15 أكتوبر، بعد ما اتفتحت المطارات والدنيا شوية رقت.
This was around October 15th after the airports
في
started
مصر
opening
في
again.
مصر عِشت في مصر عِشت هم أسبوعين.
I lived 2 weeks in Egypt.
طبعًا كنت مُعرّض للقتل والدنيا خربانة، وقصتي طالعة في كل حتة، ما أعرفش إيه اللي حصل،
And
والناس عرفت
my story, the story about me had gone all over Egypt.
واللي عايز يلحق
They were
ال72 حورية بقتله لمحمد المرتد.
and they
ها،
were كيف كانوا يقولوا؟
اللي عايز يلحق ال72 حورية، ما هو بقتلي هو جاهد، هو بقي شهيد.
Uh, he
بقتلي
said
آه.
what they were saying to the people was, whoever wants
يطلع
to get his 72 virgins up in Al Jannah, you'll get it by killing
لما يقتل
Mohammed Rahouma, who is a
المرتد.
captain,
ياه!
Morted.
المهم طبعًا بعد أسبوعين ربنا خلق لي طريق جديد إن أنا أرجع تاني. رجعت هنا في 4 نوفمبر والجامعة اللي جابتني قالت لي: "اتفضل امشي من هنا."
Okay,
عملوا
the
لي عملوا لي
actual,
like conference
uh-huh,
في أمريكا،
uh-huh,
لأن ما فيش حد يطلع وسط العام الدراسي،
أيوه.
وسط الدراسة ما يقدرش يطلع. فعملوا لي إن أنت عندك conference في أمريكا لمدة 3 أيام، اطلع على أمريكا، يالّا.
And so the university actually helped him. They made him a invitation to go see an educational conference in America, and he actually was able to come back to America 2 weeks later on November 4th.
طبعًا كان في شخصية كبيرة دايمًا أحكي عنها إنها وقفت معايا، لأن الباسبور كانت خدته المخابرات مني، my باسبور.
Uh,
أنا عندي باسبور دبلوماسي.
yeah, he had a diplomatic
آه،
passport, but the secret police in
يا
Egypt took it away from him. But
Egyptian
there was a woman who helped him a lot.
شخصية كبيرة، هي
Very
معروفة،
well
مرة
known person.
مرة حسني مبارك، زوجة حسني مبارك.
The wife of Hosni Mubarak.
يا
The
helped me
wife
a
of
lot.
Hosni Mubarak helped get
يا
him to
واو!
مش سهى لا
سوزان.
Suzanne.
وهي على فكرة مسيحية.
Yeah, and she's Christian, by the way.
بس under نيس
Yeah,
زينا كده.
under
إحنا مش under نيس دلوقتي،
under
إحنا فوق النيس ونُص.
yeah,
المهم
thank God for
جي
her.
جيت أمريكا
I came to
و
America
وبدأت المعاناة
and I started suffering.
والكنايس تخاف. ده مين ده كان عميد كلية يا عم، ده مخابرات،
Churches were afraid of me
ده جاي
because
يجمع أسماء النصارى أو المسيحيين اللي هم ضد حاجات غريبة، حاجات غريبة. المهم طبعًا يعني شُفت أيام صعبة جدًا.
I saw
اشتغلت في جامعات كتيرة، اشتغلت في US Naval Academy، واشتغلت في Maryland University، واشتغلت في State Department وزارة الخارجية الأمريكية.
خليني أترجم بس. I started
اتفضل.
working for US Naval Academy. I started working for a university in Maryland, and I started doing all different kinds of jobs. And like I said, the
مع
churches were scared, especially the Arabic churches were scared of me because they thought they were suspicious that I was coming there to get the names of all the Christians to report it to the secret police in Egypt. And believe me, guys, there is this fear, and there are people who do that. And so he was underneath all this pressure, man.
لكن طبعًا شُفت رؤية تانية
But then I
وسمعت
saw another vision,
وسمعت صوته بيقول لي
and I heard a voice telling me,
إذ الضرورة موضوعة عليّ، إذ الضرورة موضوعة عليّ. ده فالويل لي إن لم أبشر. بس
and
the verse
I felt
necessary.
the thing that is important for me is woe is me if I do not preach the gospel.
الآية اللي قبلها هي الآية اللي قالها لي 3 مرات.
He told me 3 times the verse that's
إذ
for it.
الضرورة موضوعة عليّ، إذ الضرورة موضوعة عليّ. أنا
This
أنا ما أنا الجزء ده من من الآية دي مخفي، يعني اللي مشهور فالويل لي إن لم أبشر. إنما الverse ده النُص الأول من الآية ما حدش كتير يعرفه. إذ الضرورة أي ضرورة إيه يعني؟ طبعًا
okay,
فهمت.
خليني بس أحكيها. He
إمم.
says the part that was he heard repeated 3 times was, for if I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me.
Me.
Necessity is laid upon me. necessity is laid upon me. For woe unto me if I preach not the gospel.
إيمان. طبعًا سِبت الجامعات وسِبت العمل، آخر وظيفة كانت في State Department في وزارة الخارجية الأمريكية في
I
معهد
left all of
التركي.
I left all of the work with the government and the universities. I worked. My last job was with the U.S. State Department.
و و و و وبدأت بقى أشتغل في الخدمة، قابلت في ذلك الوقت حسين
That's
وأنشأنا
that's when me and him met. He started.
2011 I think the first time.
This was about in 2010. That's when I had been in the Middle East as an evangelist, and then I lived in Sweden for 3 years. And by the way, you guys, in a few days I'm going to be doing something about Sweden, and it is devastating. So please
إمم.
make sure and be with me when I talk about it. So, but anyway, I met Dr. Rahouma when I was just come back from the mission trip after 13 years on the mission trip field. I came back here. I wanted to leave Orange County. I really wanted to leave Orange County. And the day I was going to leave Orange County, I got this terrible toothache. And because of the toothache, I had to stay, go to a dentist and do all that. And then I forgot about leaving. And it was a few weeks later, I met Dr. Mohammed, and he's the one who took me onto Arabic television. And then he introduced me to Father Zechariah. And so, he was a source of many great blessings in my life.
Thank you so much. وعملنا اجتماع رائع للمتنصرين في الكنيسة استمر 6-7 سنوات.
Yeah, and we had a meeting in the Coptic church in Orange County for ex-Muslims in Arabic.
كانت الكنيسة أحيانا بتبقى مليانة فول.
Yeah,
كبيرة. Yes.
There were so many ex-Muslims.
وكان المرنم بتاعنا حسين.
And I was a singer, you guys. That's why you have to buy my record. You have to go to Amazon and buy my CD. Give me some rest.
وأنا في خدمتي الآن.
واو صدق.
عايز أتكلم عن خدمتنا. مش هما يعني المسلم السابق اللي بيقبل المسيح بيتعمد بصعوبة، يعني بيعمدوه بصعوبة. ولما يعمد اتفضل.
A person who is from a Muslim background, it's very difficult for them when they come to the Lord to be baptized.
Especially أنا بتكلم على مصر.
Especially I'm talking in Egypt.
Yeah. لكن طبعا بعد ما بيتعمد كمان ده إذا عمدوه ما فيش حد بيسمع عنه، يقولوا له ما تجيش الكنيسة تاني، ما تعمل لناش مشاكل. Don't come here again.
Quite often in the Middle East, this is a very real situation that somebody who's Muslim who gets saved, gets born again, gets baptized, quite often the churches will tell them, okay, please don't come back because it's going to cause us problems because the secret police are watching.
وطبعا أنا خدمتي الآن بهتم غير البرامج اللي بعملها، غير التبشير، غير وأقوى أنواع الكرازة هي الكرازة بالاختبار، الكرازة بالشهادة، الكرازة بالتستموني بتاعك، لأن ما حدش يقدر ينكر شهادتك. يعني
the strongest form of evangelism that we have is to share your testimony, because it says in the Bible, so they overcame Satan by the word of their testimony and the blood of Christ. So it's the strongest form of evangelization that we have is sharing your testimony.
وأنا برضو عايز أقول إن بولس الرسول بدأ خدمته وبشارته ونشر إنجيل المسيح بالتستموني بتاعه.
And the Apostle Paul started his ministry, his preaching with his own testimony.
لما قال اختباره عرفوه، تعالى أنت مننا. وبدأ
when they shared his testimony, they knew. They said, "Hey, you're one of us."
لذلك أنا بكلم كل متنصر
I
موجود
said every single ex-Muslim
موجود برا بلده.
who is not in his own country right now.
اطلع واتكلم.
Come on and talk. Share your testimony.
كل شهادة، كل كلمة منك هتهدم أسوار في الإسلام وهتجيب ناس كتير حتى من المسيحيين الإسلاميين هتقوي إيمانهم.
Every word you speak is going to break down the walls to keep the Muslims in their prison. It's going to break down barriers and open the way for more other Muslims to come to the Lord. And it's going to encourage the Christians who are not really born again Christian to come draw closer to the Lord and really come to know the Lord.
أنت مش عارف شهادتك بتعمل إيه.
You don't know what your testimony can do.
شهادتك بتحطم جبال
Your
وبتهد
testimony
أسوار.
destroys mountains. زي ناكر ومنكير الشكوش تبعهم.
وأنا محتاج لك تيجي تشهد عشان نفسنا سوا خلاص ندفن الإسلام، ندفنه. هو مات كلينيكيا، خلاص راح انتهى. صدقوني.
Come and share your testimony.
عايش في الارجنت كير دي.
He says, come and share your testimony, and together let's bury Islam. Islam is already dead. I mean, it's living in the urgent care right now. It's on life support. It's dying. Come on, let's bury it together. You know?
تعالى ايدك، مين هيدفن مش احنا اصحابه القدام؟ تعالى ندفنه سوا، تعالى معايا ندفنه.
Come on, let's bury Islam together. Let's join hands together to bury Islam. Who's going to bury that corpse?
ونعلن مجد المسيح من جديد.
Declare the glory of Jesus Christ.
ونقول ونعرف الدنيا كلها ان في رسل المسيح الجدد المتنصرون.
The whole world know that there are the new apostles of Jesus Christ.
دول فعلا الكنيسة الأولى، كنيسة سفر أعمال الرسل.
The church of the book of Acts.
ما حدش بيبشر غير الناس دي دلوقتي.
Right now, nobody else evangelizes except for these people right now. Nobody else is evangelizing.
اوعى تفتكر الوعظات العظيمة دي بتجيب ناس.
Don't think the great sermons that you're hearing brings people to the Lord Jesus.
ممكن تبلد الفيس، تبني الإيمان، ممكن
Maybe it'll strengthen the faith and strengthen the believers.
لكن الشهادة والاختبار.
But it is the testimony, the living testimony of conversions. That's what brings people to Jesus.
هي اللي بتشهد ليك وهي اللي بتجيب الناس.
That's what draws people to the Lord.
وهي اللي بتخلخل الإسلام.
And that's what shakes the walls of Islam.
وتخليه ينتهي.
And let it come to an end.
هم عارفين إنه انتهى.
They know it's over. They know it's dead.
ولذلك هم بيشتدوا في ضربهم وصراعهم معانا وفي اضطهادهم لينا.
And that's why they are even more committed in their opposition and in their strong, hits against us.
هم عارفين النهاية قربت.
They know the end is near.
ويسوع على الأبواب.
And Jesus is standing at the door.
وأنا أرجو منك إنك تفتح له الباب وتقول له اتفضل.
I ask of you, open the door to Jesus and say, come in.
خليه يدخل حياتك.
Let him come into your life.
ويغيرها.
And change it.
وتقف معانا وتمجد اسمه وتعلن.
Us and glorify his name.
وتعلن مجد المسيح على كل الخليقة. يا
and
رب.
declare the glory of Jesus for all of creation.
آمين.
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 هللويا. هللويا.
مجد
بركة عظيم جدا. الناس في مسلمين، تعرف بعد من هذول المسلمين هم هذول متشددين في لندن، في انجلترا، هذول في انجلترا وهناك ببشروا بطرق بشعة، لكن طلعوا اليوم عشانك.
عشان يسمعونا،
مشان يسمعوك. شايف؟ وفي واحد بده يطلع، في واحد بيقول لي انا بدي اطلع احكي معكم، اقول اجيبه. اصل
احنا مش لو انت عارف لسانهم مش محترم،
صح.
احنا عايزين نحافظ على المشاهدين بتوعتنا كده راقيين ومحترمين. انت عارف لسانه لا يصعفه من هيلجأ للبذاءات. ما انا ببعد عن كل هذه، لان الكتاب بيقول اجتنبوا المجادلات الغبيه.
اوكي.
دي مجادلات غبيه ما تليقش بينا. هتسمعوا ايه؟ هو لو عايز يسوع جابني من مصر عشان اشوفه هنا في امريكا. هو لو عايز يسوع بيعجب نفسه عن حد. هو لو عايز انما يقعد يجادل معانا مجادلات ومحادث. لا تليق بمجد الرب اللي احنا بنمجده، ولا الناس اللي بتسمعك المحترمة.
خلينا نترجم بس عشان
أنا
I
اتفضل.
was asking Dr. Muhammad, there's somebody who said they want to come on. They want me to send an invitation, one of the Muslims and stuff. And he says, they're going to come on and they're going to start saying all these disgusting stuff and they're going to speak words that are not worthy of the glory of God. He says, if they want Jesus brought me all the way from Egypt to America, to show me himself and reveal himself to me. Jesus is right there. If they want him, they can find him. He's not far away. They don't need to come on here and start speaking all these negative words and cussing and everything, So anyway, so he's saying, let them seek out the Lord. He's close to them, whoever wants him. So
بنصلي ليحيى واللي غير يحيى.
we'll pray for Yahya. Ismail, did you hear that, Yahya? I know you don't understand Arabic, Yahya, but he said that he's going to pray for you, Yahya. And
Yes.
I see what you do over at Speaker's Corner. We're praying for you and all of those da'wah gangas.
احنا بنحبكم، ما عندناش كراهية.
We love you. We're not against you.
يعني ربنا قال لنا إذا أنت حبيت حسين قريبك ولا صديقك، مالكش فضل في كده. مع حسين ده قريبك وصديقك وشريكك لكنك تحب عدوك، هذا هو المسيح الحقيقي. ده اللي يتبع يسوع فعلا. فاحنا بنحبكم فعلا من قلوبنا.
We love you from our hearts. Jesus told us, it's easy to love sometimes people who are close to you, think like you, but Jesus said, love your enemies too, those who don't love you. And we love you. No matter what you say about us, no matter what you think about us, we love you. And we want you to know the glory that we've known. We were like you. We came from the same background that you are. Same way you are now, we were like you. But Jesus came in and gave us real life. We tasted the sweetness of Jesus. So come to him.
وهنصلي لك من قلوبنا. ممكن تخلينا نصلي لهم؟
Okay, he's going to pray for you right now. He's going to pray for Yahya, you guys.
يا رب يسوع المسيح، يا من علمتنا أن نأتي إليك، أيها الوديع المتواضع القلب، أيها الملك الملوك، يا من جئت في صورة عبد لترفع عنا عار الخطية. بنناديك وبنسألك ما تحرمش حد منك، أرجوك يا رب. بولس قال وددت لو أني أنا محروم من المسيح لأجل انسبائي أقربائي في الجسد. وإحنا يا رب مش عايزين إخواتنا وأهلنا المسلمين ولا يحيى ولا اللي زيه يتحرم منك يا رب. ما تحرموش منك يا رب، ما تحرموش منك يا رب. المس قلبه الآن يا رب، غيره الآن يا رب، اتكلم معاه الآن يا رب، اهزم الشيطان اللي جواه الآن. أنت وحدك الذي تستطيع أن تقهر هذا الشيطان وتعلن مجدك من خلاله يا رب يسوع المسيح. واثقين أنك استمعت واستجبت، لك المجد الدائم من الآن وإلى الأبد وإلى ظهر الدهور. آمين. بسم الآب والابن والروح القدس له واحد.
آمين.
آمين.
شكرا دكتور.
شكرا صديقي العزيز.
انبسطت منك اليوم، كان بركة كبير.
وانا اتبسطت منك اليوم، وعودة انا جاي لك بقى عشان نخدم في شوارع كاليفورنيا سوا زي الاول.
يلا هاي هم منتظرين. امبارح تعرف طردوني وجابوا لي البوليس وقالوا هذا بيلحق البنات وهذا بيغلب الناس. لكن امبارح صاحب المكان قال إلك حق تكون هنا.
الله صاحب المكان يسوع.
امين.
وصى صاحب المكان الارضي وقال لك حق تكون هنا. لنا حق نقول. امين. اشكرك صديقي العزيز، ربنا يباركك ويستخدمك يا رب.
وانت كمان يا رب. شكرا كثير. ربي يباركك.
ربنا يباركك. سلام الرب معك.
Thank you so much.
سلام.
Thank you. And thank you for everybody who was with us and for being with us for today, and thank you for all who gave us super chats and all that. And the Lord bless you and be with you. And if you haven't done it, do it now. Say, Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me.
Amen.
Jesus, come into my heart.
Amen.
Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني، يسوع سامحني، يسوع ادخل قلبي. يسوع ساعدني، يسوع سامحني، يسوع ادخل
قلبي.
We love you. Have a wonderful day, you guys.
سلام الرب معكم. آمين.